So good morning everyone. Welcome back to the another section of this molecular biases of inheritance. Last class we have discussed about the lac operon concept, right? Lac operon model. So we have got to know that the introduction part of this lac operon model. So now we will see how it is work. So as I said, this is also called as Jacob and the Monod model. So this model of gene action was suggested by whom? Jacob and the Monod to explain what? To explain the functioning of genes pertaining to synthesis of galactidase in the E. coli, which is referred to as a operon model. So, as I said, operon consists of three genes, that is structural gene, you can see here, the structural gene, operator gene and the promoter gene. So, the operon model consists of, the operon which is consist of a three gene called as structural gene, promoter gene and that is the operator gene, and also along with the what? Along with the repressor protein. So here lac means what? Lactose. Lac means what? Lactose. So when galactidase is provided to the cell, that is cultural medium in the E. coli, then the gene expression is switched off. So what will happen here? So when the galactidase is provided to the water culture medium, the the gene expression becomes what? Switched off or switched on? It is switched on, right? So when it is not provided with a cultural medium, the whole gene expression is what? Switched off. So E. coli bacteria use the carbohydrates such as lactose as a food substrate. So as we all know that carbohydrate is a very good medium for the growth of the bacteria. So when the E. coli bacteria is provided with the carbohydrates like lactose, then the growth then they start growing as a food substrate. So when E. coli applied with the lactose, each bacterial cell synthesize about 3000 galactidase molecule to digest the lactose. So if the lactose is not supplied, number of galactidase molecule are present in the E. coli will drastically reduce to its just few per cells. So it will be reduces. That means what? When the lactose is provided to the culture medium, then around 3000 galactidase molecule are produced to digest that lactose. So when it is produced, we can find that the number of galactidase molecule present in the E. coli will drastically, which will reduce the reduce to per few, that is just for a few per cells. Sir, now here you can see that the whole switch off and the switch off or the switch on mechanism. As I said, you can see the whole mechanism where you can see the three gene, that is structural gene, operator gene and the promoter gene. So you can see here in the absence of induce or the lactose, what will happen? The repressor protein which will produced by the repressor gene will binds to what? So the repressor protein which produced by the repressor gene will binds to the what? Operator gene. So that is making the operator gene, operator sequence not available for the RNA polymerase to bind. So you can see here that RNA polymerase. So that is the RNA polymerase. We cannot transcribe the structural genes, namely which can see that Z, Y and the A. So therefore the lac operon is switched off. So when the lactose is absent in the culture of E. coli, what will happen? So in the what? So when the lactose is absent in the culture of E. coli, what will happen? So as I told that when the lactose is absent in the culture of E. coli, the regulator gene, you can see that the regulator gene produces the mRNA, which in turn produces the repressor proteins. You can see that this mRNA, which will in turn they will produce the repressor protein. So these repressor protein which will bind to the, you can see here, this repressor protein will bind to the operator gene. So this repressor binds to the operator gene and they will prevent what? It will prevent the transcription. So and what will happen? As I told, this repressor protein will bind to the operator gene and it will prevent or it will blocks it, right? So this results in what? Inactivation of the structural gene, so that the transcription and the translation are stopped. So now the structural genes are said to be what? Switched off. That is said to be switched off. Then moving on to the, in the absence of the inducer, that is lactose. So what will happen? So when the lactose is present, it is when the lactose is absent in the cultural medium. Now it is when the lactose are present in the cultural medium, that is culture of the E. coli, the few lactose molecules are bind to the repressor protein. So it will, what they will do, they will bind to the what? Repressor protein. They will bind to the repressor protein, and what will happen? It will result in the inactivation of the repressor protein, and that fails to bind to the operator gene. You can see here they cannot bind to the what? Repressor binds to the operator gene. It is not happened in the absence of what? Lactose culture. That is lactose when it is present in the E. coli. Right. Then the operator gene is free and that activates the structural gene to produce the mRNA, which in turn will produce the corresponding proteins or the enzyme. So they will in turn they will produce as the corresponding enzyme, that is you can see here the Z gene and the Y gene and the A gene. So the Z gene which will code for the, you can see that Z gene which will code for the beta galactidase, and the Y which will be the primase, and the A will be the trans catalase, right? So the gene, the Z gene code for the beta galactidase, and the Y gene code for the premases, and the A gene code for the trans catalase. So the enzyme catalyze the conversion of lactose into glucose and the glucose and the what? Galactose. So the lactose. So what will happen is these enzyme which will helps in the conversion of lactose into glucose and also the galactidose. So the now the structural genes are said to be what? Switched on, right? So you can see here the beta galactidase. This beta galactidase is primarily responsible for the hydrolysis of the what? Lactose, which will convert into what? Galactose and the glucose. So next the primers, the primase increases the permeability of the cells to beta what? Galactidase. So this is how the which will happen in the Lac-Operon model. So what is the thing which is happened in the Lac-Operon model, where how it is work? So the working is based, so the activity of the Lac-Operon on the presence and the absence. It is depend mainly on the absence, the presence and the absence of the lactose in the medium, where it will regulate the switch on or switch off of the operon. So hence the lactose is termed to be what? Act as an inducer. So hence the lactose is termed as an inducer. So in the absence of that inducer, you can see that diagram. In the absence of this inducer, that is a lactose, the repressor is synthesized from the, you can see the repressor which are synthesized from the regulator gene, that is the I gene, which binds to the operator. So you can see that it will bind to the operator gene and the operator region and prevents what? Transcription. So what will happen? Which will bind to the operator, the repressor gene, which will be binds to the region, and it will prevent the RNA polymerase from the transcribing the operon. Then the gene is said to be switched off. Presence of the inducer. So when the lactose are present in the culture of the E. coli, what will happen? The repressor is inactivated. This allows the what? RNA polymerase to bind the promoter gene and the transcription proceeds. So as a result, the three enzymes are synthesized. So that is what is that? Beta galactase, primase and the transcatalase. So the gene is said to be what? Switched on. So this is how the working model of this lac operon, and it is very important question. They are going to ask for 5 marks. Explain the lac operon model. Moving on to the another important topic of this lesson, that is mutation. Mutation, as we know that we have already discussed, but still, so what is mutation? I think all of us know that a gene play a very important role in the body of an organism. So any alteration in the gene will definitely put the person into risk by carrying on a many gene diseases or the genetic disorder. So what is mutation? It is just a sudden and heritable change in the gene, which is called as what? Mutation. Or we can also define the mutation as the any alteration which is brought about an arrangement of genes in the DNA of a chromosome is said to be what? Mutation. So how do we define the word called mutation? That is the alteration which is brought about the arrangement of genes in the DNA of a chromosome is called mutation. So where are the genes are located? So as we know that genes are located in the chromosome. So we call chromosomes are the vehicle or the carrier of the genes. So there are two types of mutation. One is point mutation and another one is frame shift mutation. So one is point mutation and another one is the frame shift mutation. So now let us understand what is the difference between these point mutation and the frame shift mutation. So point mutation, the very word which will tell you that the point mutation, that is the change in the single base in the DNA. So what is this? It is a change in the single base in the point mutation. Point mutation is nothing but what? Change in the single base pair. So point mutation is change in the single base pair. So where it involves a change in a, as I told, it is that there is any changes which was involved in the single base pair. For example, a change of single base pair in the gene of the beta globin. So of the hemoglobin, that results in the what? A substitution of the glutamic acid by the valine. So where it will cause us the diseases called as what? Sickle cell anemia. So see, imagine if if one single base pair is changed and is replaced by another substitution, and obviously going to cause some genetic disorder, like we have a sickle cell anemia. For example, there's a glutamic acid in a normal human being is replaced by a valine. So then it is going to cause a severe disease called as what? Sickle cell anemia. So as we know that instead of RBC instead of being a biconcave, it will be in a sickle shaped and it is going to rupture the blood vessels. Such type of mutation we call as what? Point mutation. So that is about the point mutation. Now moving on to the next is frame shift. What is this frame shift mutation? It is a type of mutation where addition or insertion or deletion of one or two base changes the reading of the frame of the protein in a different set of amino acids. This forms the genetic basis of a proof that codon is a triplet and it is read in a continuous manner. So as I said, when the protein is made So there, as we know that there is a specific sequence for that particular protein. For example, for a hair, so hair is a protein. For making a protein called hair, so there are particular sequence. So if any sequence, what is sequence then? The amino acid which is given in the triplet codon, if it is changed, then definitely it is going to cause some changes in the hair structure. So in the similar way, insertion or the deletion of more than one bases in a DNA shifts the reading frame. That we called as what? Frame shift. So both these two types, this point mutation and the frame mutation, is a what is forms a genetic basis, that is act as a proof for that codon is a triplet. So this is the two difference between the point mutation and the frame shift mutation. On to the next important topic, that is the genetic code or the triplet codon. So next is moving on to the very important topic is the triplet codon system. So as I said, the three nucleotide base which will be helpful, which will as we know that three nucleotide base which will specify one amino acid. So this is accepted, right? As I said, how many amino acids are there? We have four nitrogenous bases, that is A, G, C, T. Right? We have the four nitrogen bases. So if it is we used for a single codon system, it is not possible. For a double codon system, it is also not possible. But for the triplet, we get 64 combination. So for that 64 combination, you can see in the picture, that is on diagram is there in your textbook. Please refer that one. And when we go for the single codon, we will get the 4 combination. So when we go for the doublet codon, we will get a 16. So for triplet, we will get a 64 combination, which is more than sufficient for the coding of 20 amino acids. So the 24 combination are possible and they can then specify all the amino acids. So if the 64 triplet codons, in that 64, so you can see here this 64 combination will be formed, where the 61 and the 3. And the 61 codons which are called as what? Sensible codons. So the 61 triplet codons are called as what? Sensible codons, where the remaining are called as what? This is sensible. Here this is nonsense. It is a nonsense codon. So, and it was argued by George Gambo, a physicist. So, and the three codon are, as I told, it was argued by whom? It is a George Gambo, who is a physicist. So, the codon are, the three nonsense codon are what? UAA, UGA, UGA, UAG. So these are the three nonsense codon, and which is also called as a terminator codons or the stop codons. So which is not going to make any amino acids. So there will code for any amino acids. That means there will not be code to any of the amino acids. Those 61 codons, which is also called as sensible codons, and they are codes for the amino acids. As I told, the 3 codons, which is a nonsense codon, as they do not specify the amino acids, or stop, or the what? Terminator, which is also called as terminator codon. So what they will do? So as we know that for every start there will be end, where it will stops this nonsense codon, this stops the protein synthesis. So always there will be a beginning, that is the beginner will be AUG, that is methnion. So when it starts from the AUE, so any of this one which will be stops, that is UAA, will be start. So the whole process is called as what? Protein synthesis. Right? It will stop the protein synthesis. So, Matthias Nirenberg and the H.G. Corona, who was responsible for disappearing the genetic code. So who are the scientists who are decipher and who are brought up this genetic code triplet codon system? That is Matthias Nirenberg and the G.H. Corona. And the Corona proposed the genetic code dictionary, and hence he was responsible for the synthesis of the RNA molecule with a defined combination. So that is what the credit goes to whom to the scientist, that is H.G. Corona. Now let us understand the properties of this genetic code or the features of this genetic code. So, why genetic code always a triplet? So, usage of 3 nitrogenous base coding for a particular amino acids, as always the genetic code is a triplet, as I said. So, why? Because we don't go for the singlet or the doublet codon. So, the sequence of 3 nucleotides on the DNA which will specify the amino acids, right? So, that is about the genetic code triplet. So, that first character, it is the genetic code triplet. So, as we are not going for the what? Doublet or the triplet. So, we always usually go for the triplet codon, as we know that the genetic which will always code the triplet, right? That is the first feature. Second one is what? Universal. These are the universal. So as we all know that the codon always which codes for one amino acid. So it will always codes to the one amino acid. So a particular code is in the mRNA which will specify the same amino acid during what? In what it will specify? During the protein synthesis in all the organism. For example, this is universal. For example, UAA in the phenylalanine, right? It will codes to the what? In all the organism. So that is about the universal. Next is third one is non-overlapping. Non-overlapping. So here the adjacent codon in the mRNA or the DNA will do not overlap. That means the nucleoside bases are a part of one codon only. So that is the features of this genetic code, that is the non-overlapping. So next is degeneracy. What is this degeneracy? Many codons specify one amino acid. For example, aniline. So see, there are different codes of aniline. So that is GCU. For aniline, there are different types of codon which will be what? Codes. That is GCU, GUC, GCU and the GCC, GCG and the GCA. So all these different codons which will code to the aniline. So you can see that the many codons which will specify the one amino acids. That is the degeneracy. Non-ambiguous. Non-ambiguous. So here the codon specify the same amino acid without making any mistake. So there is no making of any mistake in the usage of 3 nitrogenous base for a different codon in the genetic code is said to be a what? Is non-ambiguous. That is one feature. So next is comma-less. Comma-less. So the message, it is continuous on the mRNA without any threads or the pause. There will be no threads or the pause. So the very word which will tell you that a pause, comma means what? So there is a small pause. Here it means it is a comma less. It means what? So the message is continuous on the mRNA without any threads or the pause. That is said to be a comma less. Next, initiator codon. So, initiator codon. What do you mean by the initiator codon? So, the genetic code as the initiator codon, for example, as I told you that AUG is the starter, that is which will code to the methnion. So, and it is present at the 5-strand end of the mRNA and will starts the protein synthesis. So, in the absence of AUG, there will be another code, that is GUG, which will be initiate the codon where which will codes to the valine. In the absence of AUG only, this GUG will code to a which will initiate the codon. So for any protein molecule, the initiate codon or the starter codon is the AUG. So if it is absent, AUG act as a GUG act as a initiate codon and it will codes to for valine, that is the initiator codon. Next, terminator codon. Moving on to the next one is the terminator codon. So as I told, for every beginning there will be an end. So the nonsense codon that will stop the signal, they will give the signal, it will be stopped for the translation. So that is called as what? Terminator codon. So what are the three codons which will stop the signal? That is UAA, UGA, UAG or UGA. So these nonsense codons will stop signaling the what? That gives which stops the signals and there will be a no translation which will be takes place. So these will do not specify any amino acids. Next is collinear. So collinear codon. So the genetic code works on the principle of collinearity. That is, there is a clear relationship between the DNA and as well as the mRNA. So, and the polypeptide chain and also the what? Polypeptide chain. So, the nucleotide sequence in the amino acid, it is a what? In a polypeptide. That is said to be what? Collinear. So, next is moving on to the another property or the feature, that is genetic code is a linear. So linear. So genetic code are linear arrangedly. That means they are this genetic code has been arranged linearly where there is no overlapping. So these are the different types of all these are the features or the characteristics of the genetic code. That is genetic reply, universal, non-overlapping, degeneracy, non-ambiguous, comma-less, initiator codon, terminator codon, collinear and the linear. So this is very important question they are going to ask in your exam. So what are the features of the characteristics of the genetic code? Moving on to the next important concept, that is the Human Genome Project. Which is also called as HGP. So, what is this? What is this Human Genome Project? Genome means what? A set of gene which is called as genome. So, the set of gene which is called as what? Genome. The word genome was coined by H. Winkler. So, the word genome was coined by H. Winkler. So, this Human Genome Project is a scientific project undertaken to study the sequence of the bases. So it is to study the sequence of bases in the what in the entire DNA of the human chromosomes or the complete human genome. So what is this HGP? It is a so here the very word which will tell you that the Human Genome Project is the what? It is a scientific project which is undertaken to study the sequence of the bases, that is A, T, C, G in the entire DNA of a human chromosomes, or we can also call as a complete human genome. So and this is the this Human Genome Project is a mega project begin in the USA in 1990. It is you can say that it is one of the biggest mega project which is began in the USA in 1990. So as a joint program of the National Institute of Health and the US Department of Energy, and which was headed by the James Watson. So it was headed by whom? The James Watson, who take the headed of this Human Genome Project. So as you know that because of this project they are able to manipulate the genes and get the desired genes of our choice. So gene or those days, so as we know that those are gone days where you know that even the science and the technology advanced so much. So even the woman before she conceives, she can plan her baby. So what type of eye and what type of hair should be there. So what that is what is science and technology, particularly in the field of what? Genetic. So it is this is a mega project it is one of the mega project begin in the USA in 1990 in the joint program of the National Institute of Health and the US Department of the Energy, and which was headed by the James Watson. Right. So afterwards, so the countries like Britain, France, Japan are joined to this project to form an international organization called as Human Genome Organization. They had formed the what? Human Genome Organization. So the estimate cost of this project was $3 million. It is of about what? $3 billion. Is of $3 billion. The estimation cost of this project was $3 billion. So as we can call it as one of the second mega project. So it was expected to complete in 2005. That is the 15 years. In 2005 it was completed. That is of 15 years old. Introductory part of the Human Genome Project. Now let us see what are the goals or the objectives of this Human Genome Project. So first one is they will identify all the approximately, they are going to identify all the approximately, that is 20,000 to 25,000 genes in the human DNA. That is 20,000 to 25,000 gene in the what? In the human DNA. So and also it will determine the sequence of 3 billion base pairs present in the human DNA. So that is going also. So they are also going to identify what? 3 billion base pairs, right? So and also they will store the information of all this database in a database structure. So and it will also improve the what? Data analysis. So when they are going to store this data, they have to improve their data analysis. So and they will going to address if there is any issues such like ethical issues, social issues and legal issues that may arise from the project. So they are going to address. So and also they will transfer the related technology to the other sector such as the industrial. So they are going to transfer some technology where they have been related to the other industries also. So and also they will identify the cause of the gene disorder, that is the genetic disorder. So these are the important objectives and also the goals of this Human Genome Project. Now moving on to the next is how it is done. What is the procedure of this Human Genome Project? So the method which is followed in Human Genome Project are as follows. The first one is they are going to construct what? A genetic map. So that is they are going to construct the genetic map of a human chromosomes. So this genetic maps or the chromosome map are roughly what they will indicate the presence of different gene segments on the each of the chromosomes, right? So the first very important methodology is what? So constructing of the genetic map of a human chromosomes. They are going to construct. So that is and this will helps to what? It will helps to analyze if there is any change in the sequence of the RNA or sequence in the DNA or in the particular chromosome. So it is a method which will involves the identify the all the genes that are expressed. It is called as what? Express sequence tags. So that is the one procedure. Second one is, so that is of constructing the genetic map. The second one is constructing of the physical map of a human chromosome. The physical maps which indicates what? It indicates the actual size of a each gene. That is actual size of a each gene segment, and then what? And the order of the arrangement of the each chromosome. So it is a method where it will involves the sequencing the whole set of the genome. So and that contain the all the coding and the non-coding sequence. That is said to be what? It is said to be a second methodology. So next is what are the outcomes of this HGP? These are the two important methodology of the HGP. Next, moving on to the what are all the outcomes of this HGP? So the first draft of Human Genome Project was announced on 26th. So 26th June. It is announced on 26th June 2000. And it was and the project was completed in April 2003. It was announced in 26 June 2000 and it was completed in 2003. So what is the important result obtained from this HGP? So the first one is the total number of functional genes in the human cells are brought about 30,000. You can see, assume that 30,000 of about that is much lower than the expected number is of about 1 lakh. So 30,000 ginda kammi numbers bandide namge. So this total number of functional genes in the human cells are about 30,000, much will be lower than the expected number of about 1 lakh. So it is the first very important outcome of the HGP. So the second one, the human genome has a 3,164.7 million. So 7 million nucleotide base pairs. So what is the number of base pairs? That is 3,164.7 million nucleotide base pair. That means what? It forms around 99.9% of the bases are exactly the same in all the people. And there is a slight difference. That is of 99.9%. It is percent of bases are exactly the same in all the people. Only 2% of the DNA actually code for the proteins, and the other 98.98% of the DNA, that is the function, it is unknown. So this DNA with the unknown function is called as what? Junk DNA. That is called as what? Junk DNA. So next is the average size of this human genome, that is human genes, is of 3,000 bases. So the average size of the human genes is the 3,000 bases, and it is very important. And the largest human gene is the dystrophin gene with the 2.4 million bases. So the average size of human gene of 3000, but the largest human gene in the dystrophin gene is of 2.4 million. So next is the chromosome. X has a maximum number of gene, that is 2968. The X gene which is have a 2968 and the Y have a 231 genes. So as we know that the chromosomes have a two types, that is X chromosome and the Y chromosomes. So the chromosomes X, which will have a maximum number of genes, that is 2968, and the Y chromosomes has the lowest number of gene, which is of 231. So that is the one outcome. So next, the functions of that about 50% of the discovered gene are unknown. So whatever the function is going to occur with, the 50% of the discovered gene will be unknown. So we say that though we said the DNA is a main genetic material which is important and also the responsible for the passing of the character, but in HGP, that is Human Genome Project, the study that is the functional of about 50% of the discovered gene are unknown. So that is the one outcome. So next is the scientists have identified about 1.4 million locations where single base DNA difference the what? SNAP. What is this SNAP? The single nucleotide polymorphism. So which will helps in what? Which will helps in, so where this information will promise to revolutionize the process of finding the chromosomes location for the disease associated sequence. As I told, so the scientists have been identified 1.4 million location where the single base pairs DNA difference which is occurs in the human will be help in the what? Help in the to know the disease of the particular locations, right? The outcomes of this Human Genome Project. Next, moving on to the applications. So are the future challenge of this HGP. So they will helps in the identify the genes associated with the various diseases, as I told earlier that. So it will helps to gene associated with the various diseases. They are going to identify the gene associated diseases. Second, it will helps in modern medicine practice. As we know that the gods are those days, science and technology has been improved a lot. So in the field of medicine, they are helped. This Human Genome Project will be help in this modern medicine practice. Third is, it will help to understand of the biological system of the human. So how this our human biology has been formed. It is helps to understand our biological system of the human. So and this human genome sequence enable the new approach to the biological research. So it will enable to know the new biological approach will be found in the biology. So and also it helps the new ways to diagnose, treat and prevent the thousands of disorder. So if it is any genetic disorder happens, it will help, this Human Genome Project will helps to diagnose, how to treat, how to prevent those diseases. So these are the application of the Human Genome Project. So next class we will discuss about the DNA fingerprinting, where it will end your lessons.